Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Andrew, the vintage camera guy. This video is going to be a little bit different to the ones I've done recently. I'm in Australia and at the moment it's midsummer and it's been like 40 degrees for the last month. Going out and shooting just isn't really that much fun at the moment, so I thought this time I'd actually take a look at some lenses. In particular, the 50mm lens, very traditional lens, and in particular the one I want to look at is the 1.8 Canon, the lens that eventually became known as the Nifty 50. We're going to have a look at it from sort of the original bayonet mount that came with the early SLRs right through until the current RF series. So let's get started. First up was the FL. The FL was released in 1964 for about $60, and it was designed to work with the Canon FX camera, one of the early Canon SLRs. It was a totally manual lens. It's very solid. It's got 6 elements in 4 groups. The aperture ring sits at the front through here. Manual focus. The mount on it is like a bayonet type with a breech lock, which was consistent across the FL and FD lenses till right near the end of the FD lenses. Small, very solidly built, all glass. It required stop down metering in order to get your metering. So it didn't have any real connection to the actual camera other than being mounted to it. So it was a pretty basic lens. The early versions were a single coated lens. They actually have like a bluey, sort of yellowy tinge to them that was consistent with that. Later ones had, I just need to check this. They had a super spectra coating, SSC, which was whatever Canon thought was cool at the time. Anyway, that's the FL lens. It ran from 1964 to I believe 1971. Next up was the FD, and the FD was released in 1971 when the Canon F1 was released, and the F1 was the pro level Canon camera at the time. The major differences were it had a better coating and it would allow for open lens metering, so you didn't have to stop down. It actually communicated somewhat, only fairly basically, but communicated with the camera in order to work. It also allowed working with the AE1s when they came along, the AE1 programs. The difference, quite obviously, the aperture lens has moved from the front of the camera, or from the front of the lens to the rear of the lens. The mount is very similar. The lens is somewhat bulkier. Still very solid lenses. The FD was made all the way through until I believe it was 1987. And it was very popular. Back in the day, when I started in photography, which is in this early 1980s period, you always had a 50mm lens, and unless you were a big time professional who could afford the 1.2s and the 1.4s, you had one of these little babies. And even if you could afford those, you'd still have one of these little things because they were comparatively light, made the camera very compact. Zoom lenses were nowhere near the quality of prime lenses at the time, so you would always have one of these in your bag. These were the last of the cameras before we started going to autofocus. Some of the later ones of the FD mount did have some primitive autofocus, but it never made it to the Nifty 50. So in 1987, Canon made the big decision and they changed the lens mount. And I remember the time back when this happened that it was a huge furor. People hated the fact that they had changed and none of the lenses they had would work. There were some adapters, but I don't ever remember them being a big thing. So basically, if you had a large number of lenses and you wanted to go to the new EOS series bodies, you had to buy all new lenses. And I remember at the time, and even all the way through the DSLR era, Nikon made a huge play on the fact that all their lenses worked. I think in the end, Canon was justified in changing because there was no way they could make this lens mount here work with digital. There was no way you could get contacts into it. It's simply, in that lens mount, in that body, there is no way that you could comfortably put contacts. And even Nikon suffered because the aperture hole, the size of the actual opening for the lens was very small, and they had to mount the contacts on the outside of the body. So there was always a compromise with their lenses, and I think Canon made the smart move and it was painful. It was very painful, and the complaints, it was, if there had been social media at the time, Canon would have been absolutely crucified because of the fact that they changed and you had to buy all new lenses. But anyway, the lens we're looking at is the Nifty 50, the lens that actually became known as the Nifty 50. There were 3 separate versions. The first version was quite a solid version. It's one I don't have. Gone was the aperture ring. EF stood for, I believe, electrofocusing. Stood for electrofocusing, so it's obviously autofocus. There was no aperture ring on them. All the control for that moved inside the camera. So a totally different way to build a lens. Again, the first one was quite solid. That one ran from 1987 through to around 1990 when the Mark II was released. The Mark II was, and I had a Mark II, it went to fully plastic. So the lens mount, all this area, totally plastic. And I'm a Canon shooter from way back and I love Canon, but to be honest, that lens was rubbish. I don't have that version of the lens anymore because it lasted maybe 2 years and it just stopped working. And I think I paid at the time about $120 for it, so they were cheap as, but they really were nasty. In 2015, they brought out the Mark III version, which is this one, back to the metal lens mount, better stepper motor in them, better autofocusing, better coatings on the lenses, and this was a much better lens, I think, and it still was only around $150. You can still buy the EF mount lens, although these days you can't buy new EF mount cameras, but lots of people still have, and we all still have EF mount bodies that we can use, and you can still buy these, and it's still a nifty little lens. These were the ones that got the name the Nifty 50 because they were cheap and cheery and pretty much everyone could have them. By the time these came out, zoom lenses had tended to take over the mainstream, and having a prime lens, particularly if you weren't a professional, was much less common. But lots and lots of people had these just because they were so cheap and easy to come by. So last in line is the RF version, and this came out in 2020, and it was released with the new R series Canons, the mirrorless cameras. Physically, it is quite similar to the later model EF version. However, it is a much better lens. The coatings, the quality of the lens, the glass in the lens is much better, and this is a notably better. Like side by side, you could tell this lens is just a much nicer lens to use. This is a lens that I can happily use, particularly with video. I can happily use this lens on a professional job. I would never use the EF version. It's okay, but I certainly wouldn't. And compared to the earlier versions, which were genuinely nice and good quality lenses, the EF was pretty average. The RF is the current version. The price has gone up a bit. They're now in the $300 to $400 range, but they are a much nicer lens. That's the history of the Nifty 50. You've got 4 lenses, and that takes you over 60 years of history in 4 different lenses, and the transition from the early SLRs, which were totally manual. As I say, you had to stop down even to get the light meters to work, all the way through to U-Butte mirrorless cameras, the beautiful cameras we have today. So that's my little history of the 50mm lens. If you've enjoyed that, give me a thumbs up. Let me know that I'm doing well. If you've got any questions, happy to try and answer them. And if there's anything else you'd like to see, leave a comment and I'll see what I can do for you. But for now, hopefully by the time I get to make the next video, it'll have cooled down a bit and I can get out and take a few more photos. Got some really cool cameras coming up for you to see, and I look forward to it. Until then, goodbye.